I just saw, the full interview with Officer Tatum and the full interview with Shannon Sharpe and Nightcap, right? I'll just play a short, clip of each, and then I'll get back to you here in a second.
I didn't recognize.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
I didn't recognize them, but I was going to say it's a 90% or more of the neighborhood is predominantly Caucasian.
Okay.
So we're one of Black families in the neighborhood.
And our house sits all the way in the back of the neighborhood, and the people ride by and take pictures every day. And there's a lot of publicity with our house. So it really was, it was shocking, but they stay to themselves in the neighborhood.
Let me ask you this. When you walk up and you ask, what can I help you with? And she says, is this your house? And you say, yeah. And she says, I don't believe you. When someone tells you they're standing on your porch and they tell that's not their property, and they tell you that this is not your property, what went through your mind when someone is standing on your porch and they say, well, you don't live here?
Well, that's when I was battle tested as a Black man, as a man that had been to prison, that's, had to transition and learn how to put pride and ego to the side and control your emotions.
Okay.
That's when that kicked in. That was the ultimate battle test. Because in my mind, I said the audacity of her. That was in my mind, but I had to control my emotions in the moment because I knew where it could have escalated at. I'm thinking, well, what if she had a gun?
Correct.
Would she have been running, or would I have been running?
Is this a situation because now she said, well, you have to see it from my point of view. No, I don't need to see anything from your point of view when you stand on my porch. But for her to say, well, you didn't say, well, I really live here. I live here. I don't have to identify myself. This is mine. Why do I have to tell you who I am when you standing on my property?
It took everything out of me, not to get out of character. And especially when they came back, she brought her husband back. He was real standoffish. I was scared to go outside, but I sat on it. I was listening. I said, I can't let my wife sit out here with these people. What if the police pull up?
Right.
So, I went outside and I just had to make my face known. And I had to let them know I do live here. A Black man does live here. I did build this house from the ground up. I did design this house. I had to show my face. And as soon as I came outside.
I do, but we are so appreciative. You're such a blessing to us. So the story, this whole thing. So November 19th, I was out with my children. It was just before 6:00 in Ohio, not like Arizona. It gets dark really early in the winter. And so my husband is always super protective. And he was like, hey, it's getting dark, get home quick. And so we were finishing our run on the second half of our neighborhood. And we were jogging down the road and it had gotten dark. The sun had gone down. We were trying to run, look at the Christmas lights. And I noticed a truck coming from behind me. And that's all that it was. It was vehicle approaching from behind me. I'm a mom in the street jogging with my little girl and my baby jogger, my little 2-year-old. And I go to the grass, and I've always been told if ever this situation happened, which I never thought it would, to go to the closest house, to act like it's your home. And so that is what I was doing. I went into the grass, started walking up the sidewalk when DeMichael was continuing to slowly approach. And he started to say things out the window, asking if he could help me. And so I didn't respond. I wasn't talking to him. It was a man in a vehicle. I'm with my children. It's dark. And so I told my daughter, hey, turn here, act like, go up this driveway. Don't look behind you. Just walk, pretend this is your house. And so we're walking up the driveway. And at that point, we decided to go to the front porch to just knock on the door, see if somebody's there, ring the doorbell. And when I get on the doorbell get on the porch and I ring the doorbell, nobody's answering. And at that point, I am absolutely just in mom mode. I'm just doing what I was I think any mom would do to protect their children. I start to unbuckle my son, and I ask the man in the truck, he's still in the truck, I say to him, "Is this your home?" And he said yes. And at this point, there was nothing that you could say to me to make me believe anything. I was in protective mode. I was in mom mode, challenging it. I said, "I don't believe that." And so I grabbed my kids. I told my daughter to run, and I ran for my life. Literally, you can hear it. Showing up at a woman's house where I was calling the police just to let them know of where I was. Just, hey, just get somebody on the phone with me. And I get in the woman's house, and I had told the woman that I thought he was a young white man. My husband came, and we went to get the stroller because I had left it in the front yard. And it was at that moment that the wife stepped out onto the porch. And it was that moment when I realized that it was a Black family. My husband even said to me, that's a Black family that lives there. He said, "Are you sure it wasn't?" He said, "Are you sure it wasn't?" How'd you say it? You said.
So when we went to that neighbor's house where Michelle ran to, I'm watching her on my phone, by the way. Like, I have her location. I'm like,
all right, I made a couple videos of this before, my thoughts, but this is a final breakdown, man. I watched the interview with Officer Tatum. Got the lady's point of view and the reason why she did what, and if you've seen both interviews, you'll agree, man. Hopefully you'll agree. Let's break it down. I mean, everything doesn't. I'm doing this cardio right now, so get in the gym, stay in the gym. But anyway, everything doesn't have to be about, race. This racial tension that is kind of put out there is always put out there, right? This situation, if you really look at it, it didn't really have to be. I mean, the situation happened. It was unfortunate that it happened that way. It was both, in a way you can say, innocent reactions, right? Both parties, going through their traumas through previous experiences, right? But what I saw with Shannon Sharpe's interview, and it was frustrating to watch, right? Like the whole time, they didn't bring up how and why the lady ended up on the porch and ringing her doorbell, right? Didn't come up at all, like the exact reason. She felt like she was followed and, thinking she may be abducted or whatever, and that's a major thing, right? Everybody knows about trafficking or whatever. It's, what they say? $1 billion business. So that's per year. So that was the reason why she ended up on the porch, right? At the house. That exact reason did not come up at all during the interview, and it's kind of disappointing to see, Shannon Sharpe, Ocho, instead of totally being on their side right away, like throughout the whole thing, take that in consideration, like why she did what she did, right? That'll explain a lot of things though. So, why wasn't that brought up? I don't know. It was frustrating to watch. That should have been a main question to ask, or a main thing to know, right, about the situation. So I can see how, like, there's tension between race, white, black. Like, come on, man, just think it. it was really nobody's, it shouldn't have been that serious, you know? And you see why, you know, tension between races, like, it's always there. It's always you have to choose one side or the other, you know, based on race. But yeah, that's my final thought, man. Didn't have to be like that. I'm not sure why, you know, the couple didn't. Like, that was the main issue in that interview, man. Like, so it kind of, I don't know, it was kind of weird, but that's my final thought on that, man. If you've seen both interviews, if you're, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought that. So, you know, let's just come together, man. It don't have to be about race every time. Drink water. Eat right. Get into the gym. And let's just use common sense and logic. Love you guys, man.